Yeah, I'm obviously very glad we didn't get that 50k loan that we was thinking about getting.
Right.
Talking of successful businesses.
I know where this is going. The amount of risk capital in Europe is about 10% of the amount that's available in the US. And of course, it's not a single market like the US, but still it's a comparatively similar population. Financially, Europe is still well off, but we just don't have that sort of money available.
Next in the chair, I've got Mikka. Mikka's an old friend of mine and my old business partner who I started SynthSwap with. I'm going to go into more details about what SynthSwap was in another video, and possibly we're going to get onto that conversation as well while I do the haircut. We sold the business at the beginning of this year, and we'll probably talk about starting a business in Germany and selling a business in Germany, what that sort of entailed. We're close friends too, so the conversation is going to be very relaxed. Please give me some feedback and enjoy this episode. So yeah, Mikka, I've done your hair 100 times now, so we didn't really need to do a consultation.
No.
I know what we're going to do. We're going to do a mid to high zero, small bit off the top, and then just tidy up with a beard, right?
Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah, cool.
Why change a formula that works?
Exactly. How have you been, mate?
Yeah, it's been good.
You started university now, you're doing it?
Yeah, I went back to school after doing a second master's degree. In general management MBA now. It's like weekend studies, online classes. So something that I can do alongside work as well. But that's interesting. It's been a few years since I've been back to university, and I just felt like I had the hunger to still learn more and especially fill the gaps that I had in kind of my knowledge about how to run a successful business. So that's definitely been an interesting start.
Talking of successful businesses.
I know where this is going.
So obviously we started SynthSwap together. And what do you think SynthSwap did to you in respect to going and studying again? Do you think it had something to do with you maybe wanting to go and do a master's again? Or was it just something that made you think, actually, I would rather work for a big company that's already doing something? What do you think there was a deciding factor in going to study again?
Yeah, it's a very interesting question. I think it did contribute to that as well. I think, when I reflected when we sold the business in the beginning of the year, I think, it definitely contributed to my reflections on thinking, what do I want to do next? And it did, of course, pinpoint some clear gaps that I had in terms of my business knowledge that I wanted to fill. And I thought that, okay, one way to do that is to do an MBA. But I think that, what you referred to also, like wanting to work for a bigger corporation. So before I worked with kind of mid-sized agencies as an innovation consultant, and now doing freelance and having seen like from small to mid-size, I'm now curious to actually go inside a bigger corporation and maybe go into kind of managing an innovation portfolio. And
why do you think you want to go into more of a bigger company than a smaller company?
I think there's multiple reasons. One is just curiosity. It's a kind of already a little bit referred to before that I've seen from very small to mid-sized companies. I've seen those sorts of environments, and then I've worked quite a bit as a consultant for larger corporations, but I've never been inside one. So it's the curiosity it's a different type of beast to handle, of course, a lot more political, a lot more kind of slower pace in a sense, but then you can actually stick around with projects and innovations for a longer period of time rather than as a consultant. What I sometimes find a little frustrating is that everything's almost always like a one and done. You work on something for a few months and then you hand something over and you say bye and you jump on to the next one. So I'd seen to see that sort of longer term impact and stick around for a bit.
Yeah. When you said like that you you started when we did SynthSwap together, and you wanted to go and do an MBA to learn more about things that you weren't that good at in the business. What do you think was one of the main things from the SynthSwap that you didn't know that you want to actually learn better from maybe doing an MBA?
Yeah, if I think about the SynthSwap context, then yeah, maybe just the general kind of, let's say, financial modeling and this sort of stuff would have probably been useful for when we were thinking about like how to make this into a business that actually makes money at some point. I think with SynthSwap we went into it with, it was a very kind of experimentation oriented way of doing stuff. We just said that, okay, we had some like positive initial feedback and clear base of early users, and we just said, let's run this for a year and let's go along and learn and see like how we shape this into a business, and then see after a year on whether or not we have something on our hands then that can become like a success.
Yeah.
I think it was a very interesting way to go about it. I wouldn't do it again the exact same way, just because I feel like we completely underestimated the amount of bureaucracy that we had to deal with to run a company in Germany. I do like the idea of going to market as fast as possible to learn and to get feedback, because that's really the only way that you get actual, like 100% factual kind of feedback.
German bureaucracy was difficult.
German bureaucracy was real, yeah.
It was slow. I think the main thing about it, which was confusing, was it was slow.
Yeah.
It was like, it took us 3 months before we could even start trading.
Yeah.
It took us like, replies to people always took time. You always had to wait for paperwork. So it was like, it's quite difficult for like startups, as much as there is a lot of startups here.
Yeah.
It's quite difficult to do things quick when you think of them.
Yeah, and that really sucks that there's this sort of, I come from a country in Finland where you can register a company online within a matter of few days and then you're ready to go. And I think that's why I was a bit naive about that side of the thing when we went into this, that I'd seen like a completely different environment where it's much faster to set up a structure.
Yeah.
So that's hard, and I think honestly that's one of the big challenges when it comes to innovation and new entrepreneurship in Germany. These days. There's the like huge bureaucracy. It's quite a hassle to actually run a company here, and then B, there's of course
I suppose that's going
to of risk capital in Europe generally. But
yeah. I suppose that's going to really make you think about what you're doing in the next path of your career, which is like going to work for something that's more established in Germany. Because I do think Germany is quite set up for people who want to work at big companies. And yes, you have workers' rights and you can't work too many hours, and they try and protect you in this sort of way. So you know, good holidays, sick pay, all this sort of stuff. So
I think it's too oriented towards that, to be honest. It's very unfavorable to work as a freelancer here. You have to pay huge health insurance contributions. You basically lose a lot of your social security, and it's just, the system is just like not making it favorable at all to do any sort of entrepreneurial activities like this. So I think that's
why do you think people do start businesses here? Why do you think that there is this aspect? Because I've got my own perspective on it, and I think it is because of the unemployment help that you get from this country, because you get such high taxes, but if you ever do lose your job, then your salary is covered by the government for up to 80% for a year, which I think gives people the chance to be like, actually, I'm going to quit my job, or I'm going to let this contract run out, and then I'm going to try and do this thing that I've been trying to do for a year and see if it works. So it has this sort of like freedom for people to be able to try and give something a go, but also it's restricting at the same time doing that thing.
Yeah, that's a fair point, and I think that's definitely a good side of the social security system here, that you do, if you end up in a situation where you don't have work, you can actually, you have the time to think about things, you have the time to try things and so on. So I think that's good, and I think even if there's this thing, if you are unemployed, I think you can even get like an extra couple of €100 in from the government if you're setting up like a business of your own.
Oh, really?
But I think then the problem is more that I think the next stage then when you're actually setting something up and you probably need some capital to set it up, I think the kind of landscape for actually getting risk capital, whether that's VC money or any sort of other forms of investment is still not that great.
Yeah.
I think I don't remember where, I think it was Financial Times or one of these like big like newspapers who just reported last week that the amount of risk capital in Europe is about 10% of the amount that's available in the US. And of course it's not a single market like the US, but still it's a comparatively similar population. Financially, Europe is still well off, but we just don't have that sort of money available, and that's really crucial for...
Do you think that's because the American dollar is stronger, or...?
I don't think that's and I mean, I think this is... my expertise on economics is maybe not at a level where I can make some like really good guesses on exactly why this is, but I think there's just also just a completely different type of attitude towards entrepreneurship and risk taking and so on in Europe than there is in the US.
Yeah, it's the same in the UK as well, though. I think there is some set holdbacks in the UK for doing things, but also it's you can start a business one day and be running it the next day and stuff like that. There is slightly easier things, but yeah, generally makes it harder. But yeah, it was fun though, right? It was fun what we did.
For sure.
We both made music and we was lending each other equipment, and we decided to see if we could turn that into a business by letting people rent out their equipment to other people, and we would be the middleman and be the insurance and the connector for people. Yeah. The insurance thing was quite an interesting one, wasn't it? Because we thought that we were just going to take a percentage of the rental and give that to an insurance company, and they were going to be like, yes, sweet, that's no problem. I think we went into that like really sort of
that was another
optimistic,
thing.
like
right.
that will just work.
Yeah, like why wouldn't an insurance company just want a little bit more money and so on? But then I guess that was another example of insurance companies are probably the most risk-averse companies in the world, and we again something that we underestimated. In the end, we were able to negotiate a good deal that worked out.
Yeah, I think the deal was pretty good. Yeah.
But it took months and months to find the right partner and the right sort of deal that was applicable to something like this, like a very early stage thing where we couldn't take a lot of financial risk by doing some sort of integrated insurance thingy, so we were able to find a good solution. But yeah, I think that was another thing that we discovered, just that especially in this country, like companies are very risk averse and underestimated, of course, like maybe looking back at it a little naively that insurance companies will want to just play ball and
just
and
go along
for
with our newer idea.
Yeah, okay, here's this thing where some random people are going to be renting some like multi-thousand euro things to one another, and we're not like doing much to be in between. Like, would you like to insure all of these events worth like hundreds of thousands of euros in a calendar year or something?
But I think it was quite a good deal that they got. We eventually got them to sign up, and we got them.
It ended up being more like a referral deal than where our customers became direct customers of an insurance company, and it worked out quite fine.
Yeah, we had that broker as well who was like trying to get us insurance deal, and it's funny when you're in a business and you're starting out at the beginning, if you find somebody that you feel like is going to really help you, it's quite easy to let them suck into them to be like, they're going to sort everything out. They're going to be the person that finds us the right deal, but it doesn't always come to happen, does it?
Yeah.
Like, we ended up doing the deal through someone else, didn't we? And it didn't end up working with that person. And sometimes you can focus energy into people and time, and it doesn't always pay out.
Yeah, that's the hard thing about when you're starting something new. There's gonna be these sort of situations where you have to put time and effort into figuring out these key things, and then you do end up kind of spending a lot of time on things that kind of eventually lead to not so much. And, to prioritize like quite hard and so on. But yeah, I'd say like generally it was a very interesting year, and we went into the whole thing saying also that yeah, okay, we realized that this is highly risky not from the sense that we made any huge investments or anything. Like it's like a digital platform where the costs of developing the basics and running the basics were very low. So from a financial perspective,
we had
very low
Ali,
risk.
didn't we?
Yeah. We had our boy Ali, who did a lot to make that all happen, and that was. But what I mean by risk is just putting a lot of time into something. That's chances of something like this succeeding are of course always like quite low. But what we said in the beginning was that we're thinking like, okay, would we do this for a year even if we wouldn't make any money out of this, and came up with a bunch of learnings and met a bunch of interesting people, and we like immediately both said yes. So it was an easy decision to say that, okay, let's do this, let's figure out, there's only one way to find out if this is going to work or not. And I'm happy that we did it.
Yeah, I spoke to I've got some customers who are really successful businessmen, and they said we did it the right way. We built a platform that worked. It started getting revenue. We realized what it would be like to scale it.
Yeah.
We got the data on that and saw that it was not worth the while.
Yeah.
We didn't get big investment, and we sold the business. And if we'd shut it down, it would have been good too. So, like he said, so many people start businesses these days and they get big investment, and then they can't close it.
Yeah.
They can't walk away because they owe too much money into it, and they just can't see things fail.
Yeah.
I'm obviously very glad we didn't get that 50k loan that we was thinking about getting at one point. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, I think we did it in it was like a good low risk approach to it, and I think we came out with a lot of learnings, a lot of insights and so on. And I think like maybe circling back to your earlier, you were asking about the whole like how did this impact my thinking of what to do next. I think for me to start another platform business or this sort of tech startup, I think I wouldn't do it again unless it's really that there's like a clear path, I don't know, like a 1 billion euro business or something like that. Because it's so intense to set something up from scratch that I don't think in this sort of platform business or for like a tech startup, it probably doesn't make that much sense to commit basically all of your time that you have available to something that's not where you don't immediately see the potential for making a lot of money.
Yeah, I agree. It went in a similar direction for me, but in the aspect of it made me obviously number one really respect people who do this sort of thing, and obviously got me interested to do this idea, which was obviously to speak to people who are doing these sort of business ideas and who are like trying to start something on their own and stuff like this.
Yeah.
But it also taught me that there's a lot I need to learn before I would have to do something again big like that. Like for you, it was you want to go do an MBA and stuff. For me, it was like getting on top of the tech side of things and like learn more about like email marketing and like this sort of part of the marketing
and you
side.
were focusing a lot of like on the marketing side as well, on content and so on. And I think that was also.
But it also, it's a thing that I realized I liked the sort of content side of it, and that's why I'm trying to do more content now. And but I said to myself that I was going to have a year off and not do anything. I was just going to make music, and cut hair and just have a chilled year. I've nearly got to the end. Now I've got halfway through the year before I started a new project. But like I decided to myself that the next thing I did, it would be like I would be the product. I would cut your hair, you would give me money. I would do a podcast. Like rather than me selling an actual individual product, it would be like more like I am the product. Because then I feel like I can be more in control a little bit of what it is. And if people like it, and I can change it quicker because I can just change what I do a bit.
Yeah, that's fair. I think that's interesting because with a product, you have as a when you develop something like that, you have an idea on how customers would like to use it, but then when you actually put it out there, it might be something entirely different, then it's much harder to change that. And I
Yeah,
think,
exactly,
like,
yeah. But if you are a brand, you can
Yeah.
just, if you are the brand and the idea, then you can just, it's a certain type of clothes you wear, you can just start wearing different clothes. If
Yeah.
it's a certain
Right.
hair product I'm using, I can change the hair product I'm using,
Yeah.
you know, that sort of.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think content and personal brand stuff is like a very interesting opportunity also from so many perspectives. If you nail it, it can be also like really, it can provide something interesting and valuable to people, and then you can actually make a good living out of it as well.
Yeah, that's what I want to do. I want to give something interesting to people. Like I told this idea to people about interviewing entrepreneurs and people like this sort of situation while I cut their hair, and people were like, oh, that's a different idea. It's like doing something that is totally normal and bringing a topic into it that's interesting to people. Loads of people do certain things like this that work. You've got James Corden, who does carpool karaoke, it's an interview while driving a car. You've got Hot Ones, people who eat spicy food and then they get an interview. It's like two things that can work.
Yeah, and it's more interesting somehow than just
a normal interview.
Yeah, exactly.
I think people like open up a bit more when they're getting their hair cut, especially if it's a regular. You know?
Yeah, and I think it makes sense. It's also, I think barbershop is generally this sort of, as a concept, is sort of place where you talk quite a lot and you sometimes go deep into these sort of topics.
Yeah, we
naturally.
could talk about business. I had a founder of a very large company in Berlin once, and I was obviously picking his brains, and I'm not going to say what business it is because I might get him on at some point, but it was quite a large one, and he was saying how things were struggling a little bit at the moment, and I know I got some insightful information, and then 10 minutes later we're talking about which is our favourite dog park to take our dogs to and stuff like that, you know?
Yeah, but that's exactly, it's super interesting.
So you're going on holiday then soon?
Yeah, gonna go to Japan for the first time in 1.5 weeks from now. So planning to go around a bit to Osaka and Kyoto and a little bit further to the west, and then
everybody's going to Japan at the moment.
Yeah.
Literally, so many people I know are going to Japan. I think it's because it's much cheaper to go there, right?
Yeah, the yen has been a little bit weak for the past few years, so it's now cheaper than it used to be before. It used to be much more expensive to be there, so I think that's why the popularity has risen from traveling from Europe to there. But yeah, it's been on my list for a very long time, so I'm really glad to.
Have you organized like the whole trip, or you like where you're staying and stuff?
Yeah, accommodations, but that's about it. Like then have some ideas on what we want to do in each of the cities, and I'm gonna meet a friend in Tokyo as well who lives in Taiwan, so he's gonna come there. And that'll be nice. But yeah, I usually when I go for a trip like this, I don't like to plan too much. I like to get the accommodations in order so I don't have to.
Is the accommodation expensive? I heard that's the one thing that's a little bit pricey, right?
Yeah, but it's not as pricey as in Central Europe, for example.
Yeah.
I'd say that Germany or France or places like this.
It's so expensive to stay anywhere in Europe. It's fucking crazy. I was looking at. We're going to London next month for a wedding, and I was like, you're talking like £250 to stay in a crap hotel outside London.
Yeah, same in here. I feel like in Germany, like the shithole start from €100, and in big cities, and if you're in a small place, it's 50 minimum per night, and you get nothing. You get a bed and a toilet.
Yeah, you can't even cook anything in there. It's ridiculous, mate. I think that's like why. That doesn't help the economy because flights are already expensive to fly. Things are getting more expensive to fly.
Yeah.
And you think to yourself, maybe that's a good thing because it's going to stop people flying so much, carbon emissions and all this sort of stuff. But also it's making it elitist and making just wealthy people can fly. But like it should be compensated with, it's cheaper to stay somewhere because like I think if flights were expensive, but don't worry, the hotel is cheaper, then people are going to go, okay, I'll still go. But if it's like both expensive, I don't know what the compensation is because I thought Airbnb would push down prices, but it's actually just...
It was the exact opposite effect, right?
Everything's gone up.
Now everybody's trying to ban Airbnb and these sort of things because it's like completely fucked up the housing market in so many cities.
Yeah, Germany has very good rules for Airbnb. I've got a customer and he's just bought his apartment and he's renting it out for the first time on Airbnb.
Yeah.
And he had to write a letter to the government,
Yeah.
fully showing the whole contract and
Yeah.
him having it. And they give him 90 days. They said you can rent it out for 90 days a year. And
yeah, I think you need that permit, right? You have to have an actual permit to do that. Evaluated case by case basis, which is good.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely a big change. Well, you're just going to go to Japan?
Yeah, just to Japan this time around. 2.5 weeks in total, and in Tokyo, and then fly back from there.
I met one of your friends actually the other week.
Oh, what did you mean?
Was you going to go to Elsa Club?
Yeah, you met Pete, right?
Pete, yes,
Yeah.
that was it. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, he texted me that he bounced into you there. Yeah. Yeah, I had some like friends who came for like a surprise visit from Finland for that weekend. And I had the chance to go meet them that evening. So that I had class and a German language exam. I'd woken up at 5:45 that morning, so I was also not exactly in the mood to go out clubbing, but yeah, that then sealed the deal when my friends were in the...
It was really good actually. Elsa was really nice.
Yeah,
I had to leave. Yes, Steph Mendicini's. I had to leave at 11 because we had to go down to Dresden.
Yeah.
Because my partner, she
had a gig there, right?
She was DJing at Dresden, and I said to her, she was like, will you come with me to Dresden? I was like, at 11 p.m. on a bus for 2 hours on a Saturday night.
Sure.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, it was good.
How was that?
It was nice, mate. Yeah, it was. The party was cute. Crowd was nice. It was good fun. I just stayed she was doing the closing set.
Yeah.
So we didn't really get to see much of Dresden because we got there at 1 a.m. and then we got the bus back at 8 a.m.
Oh.
It was in and out, but it looked quite pretty as we were walking around it in the evening.
Yeah, I spent a couple of days there, like, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago. I went, like...
The history of it's insane.
Yeah.
It was just totally destroyed and then they rebuilt it again. But they could only have enough money to rebuild half of the city, so on one half of the bridge it's nice and the other half not.
yeah, it's pretty crazy. Yeah, I went hiking there. There's the Sächsische Schweiz, the famous hiking spot is less than an hour train ride away from the city, so it's pretty nice for that as well.
Oh, right, I didn't know it was good for hiking. What are you doing this weekend?
I don't have too many plans. Now we're at Sunday morning. I think I'm just gonna be a boring boy and do a little bit of study-related stuff. I want to front load some of the kind of work now so that I don't have to worry about any of that stuff while I'm on vacation in Japan. So just I'm gonna work on some stuff, and I think that's it. Maybe grab a dinner later.
Yeah, nice.
You were talking about going to brunch after this.
Yeah, do you want to get some food?
Why not?
We can grab something. Yeah, I got guest list for Berghain this weekend. And I was supposed to be having a chilled one because Natalie was away in Amsterdam. Yeah. But I decided, my friend was like, I've got guest list to Berghain, do you want to come? And I was like, you can't say no to guest list, can you, right? And I was like, I'll go in the day. So we're going to go in the day, and it's the closing of the garden as well.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it should be fun. I think there's going to be, like, Floor Plan is playing.
Oh, yeah, nice.
And Blauwan tonight, so it should be
that's
nice.
pretty neat.
Yeah. How's that, mate?
Yeah, looking great.
Good stuff.
Perfect.
But yeah, same with the beard?
Yeah, we do the same.
Yeah, no, so I'm going to do that, but I totally forgot. But one of the other barbers down the road, it's the Berlin Marathon next weekend. Yeah. And he's trying to start this like running club. Mm-hmm. And we'd been for runs in the past before we did the half marathon. We were like running together, and we had this like unofficial running club. Yeah. And he kept saying, I'm going to start a barber running club. So I was like, yeah, do it. And then he was like, kept saying, which days do you want to do it? And I was like, Sunday, Monday is my day off, so either of them. And he said to me, like, Monday, what about Sunday? And I couldn't do it Sunday for some reason. And I said, Monday would be better. So he's created like an Instagram account for it. He's published it everywhere. advertised this barber running club, and then he's made it for tomorrow and said to me, "Oh, I made it this date for you." He private messaged me, "I made it this date for you," because I said you were coming, and I was like, Burgine, then running club the next day.
Yeah, that sounds like a fantastic plan. Good luck with that.
Yeah, that should be fun. I keep picking up those clippers, but they're a little bit noisy, and I don't really want to use those. It's pretty cool, the editing software that I've got that I'm trying to use to do this, because it's got this AI stuff built into it. It's called Descript, and you can basically make your voice sound like you're in a studio and totally get rid of the sound of you can get rid of 100% of the sound.
Oh wow, that's super.
Yeah, it's quite crazy how it works. I don't want to get rid of all of the sound because I think it's quite nice, especially when you're looking at it as well. It'd be weird if you could see clippers, but they were making no noise.
Yeah. No, but it's super cool that these sort of things that just a couple of years ago you'd have to use like a professional studio to produce for you. Now you can do with one click.
Exactly, mate. I'm still trying to get my head around the editing software. There's so many different ones out there, and certain ones I found are better for doing different things. So at the moment, I'm using 2 pieces of editing software. I'm using one for the multi-camera angles, and then I'm using another one for the sort of transcribing, and then the editing to get rid of like words and stuff. There's a software that you can use in this Descript where it finds all the places that you've said or repeated yourself or had like awkward silences, or not awkward silences, like different things, and you could just press a button and it just deletes the whole thing. So it gets it all together edited like that.
Yeah.
Oops.
Does it edit that out?
I'm gonna have to edit that out, aren't I? I don't think I've ever dropped that. Maybe.
Yeah, I've never. Yeah, I mean,
It's worth it.
they're all good.
First for everything. Cool. I'll set you up.
Yeah.
How's that looking?
Yeah, looking great. Thank you very much.
Cool. I'll just put a little bit of something in your head.
Yeah, sure. So do you have a bunch of guests already lined up for?
I've got some. Every time I meet a customer that I think would be an interesting conversation, or who has a business and stuff, I'm going to I've given them my phone number and said, next time you want to book in, just give me a message and then I can see if I can get you on.
Yeah.
I want to have 3 fully edited ready to go, and then I'll start uploading more and having them ready each time.
Are you planning to put the full ones to YouTube or what?
YouTube, yeah, everything's going to go on YouTube. I heard this fact recently about YouTube, and it's the number one app on televisions. People watch more YouTube on their TV these days than they do Netflix or anything.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So I know there's a lot of content out there, so it took me a while to think of something that was a bit niche.
Yeah.
And I watched, Diary of a CEO, which I think has probably one of the best interview formats on YouTube there is.
Yeah.
And he did this topic on how to start a YouTube podcast. And he said the number one thing that helped him was being consistent.
Yeah.
And he does it every week to a very, high standard, as he's got, I think he said he has a team of 12 people doing it.
Right.
And it generates 1.2 million a year, the podcast.
Yeah.
But I'm dedicating time to it.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, okay, if I can be consistent every 2 weeks, bi-weekly, then I think that's good.